Increasing a car's capacity is a tricky challenge. Lengthening the wheelbase compromises maneuverability and parking. Raising the roof raises the center of gravity, affecting cornering stability, and increases aerodynamic drag, impacting fuel economy. Aesthetics are crucial too. Few want their car to resemble a bus or van. The first half of the 20th century was obsessed with making cars lower, sleeker, and faster looking. Designers abandoned the rational cab-forward layout proposed in the late 19th century, along with in-cabin luggage storage and even upright seating. The significant loss of interior space due to the protruding hood became a symbol of power, like bulging muscles. Challenges to these conventions were considered risky. One-box or cab-forward cars were rare in catalogs and production, never lasting long or achieving commercial success. Perhaps this prejudice against one-box designs explains why Peugeot and Citroën missed out on one of the century's most successful automotive concepts. The automotive division of Matra, a major French aerospace company, came to the rescue. In the mid-70s, Matra produced the popular Rancho, a stylish pickup based on a front-wheel drive car, appealing to affluent French landowners with its versatile rear compartment for passengers and cargo. In early 1979, Matra's technical director, Philippe Guédon, tasked designer Antoine Volanis with evolving the Rancho concept. Volanis needed just one weekend. Guédon had recently visited the U.S., encountering American vans and meeting a friend at Chrysler's design office. It's likely he brought back some one-box inspiration. Volanis's sketches were approved, and by June, a mock-up of the P16 project, a small one-box wagon, was built. Peugeot-Citroën, PSA, expressed interest in joining the project, forming a joint venture with Matra, 55%, Talbot, 35%, and Peugeot, 10%. Following the 4,180mm long P16 came the shorter 3,840mm P17 and the modified P18, wind tunnel tested in April 1981. The first running prototype, a 4,180mm long vehicle with a transversely mounted 1.6-liter four-cylinder engine, front-wheel drive, and a 2,604mm wheelbase, began testing. PSA then developed doubts about using Peugeot components, requiring the prototype to be adapted for the future Citroën BX, becoming the P21. PSA executives wavered again, perhaps recalling Renault's failed attempts with similar vehicles in the 1950s and the unpopular Fiat Multipla. These hesitations led Guédon to terminate the agreement and approach rival Renault. After initial talks in October 1982, the prototype was re-engineered with Renault 18 running gear, notably a longitudinally mounted engine and a reinforced front axle from the Renault Fuego sports coupe. Renault's design studio took over styling, with Jean-Louis Coste as chief designer. In December 1982, Guédon convinced Renault's leadership of the project's viability at their styling center. Perhaps CEO Bernard Hanon was motivated by a desire to one-up the competition. An agreement was signed, placing the project's fate entirely in Renault's hands. The P23's exterior was largely retained, but Jacques Nochet and Gérard Senac redesigned the interior, creating a completely flat floor and a highly adaptable cabin. Seats could be rearranged or removed from all rows. In January 1984, a pilot series was produced. The P23 became the Renault Espace. The Espace's launch was a bombshell, arriving just as Ford's Aerostar, Chrysler's Voyager, and Dodge's Caravan were ready. The trendy American term minivan crossed the Atlantic, introducing a new vehicle class to Europe. By 1987, Espace production needed expansion. Matra's capacity of 27,000 units annually was insufficient. An additional 7,000 were planned at the Dieppe factory. While European minivan sales grew, including Japanese and American models, the Espace maintained market dominance with over 40% share, remaining the sole European contender for an extended period. Peugeot-Citroën finally entered the segment a decade later, but only through a joint venture with Fiat. The Espace's popularity wasn't driven by affordability. Minivans were and remain typically more expensive than the cars whose components they utilize. Furthermore, the Espace employed a unique construction method: thermoplastic outer panels mounted on a steel space frame. Its success likely stemmed from a combination of timely market entry, bold, revolutionary design, and the versatility of its interior. With 3 rows of seats, front seats that could swivel to face the rear, removable second and third rows, and fold-down tables in the second row, the Espace accommodated 7 passengers, roadside picnics, and bulky cargo. However, it couldn't match the Chrysler and Ford minivans' maximum cargo volumes of 3,260 and 3,970 liters, respectively, compared to the Espace's 3,060 liters. Although not one-box designs themselves, it's interesting how Renault assessed its competitors. The Ford Aerostar was praised for its features and trim, but criticized for its limited versatility, awkward access, and high fuel consumption. Chrysler's minivans were faulted for their suspension, styling, and lack of versatility, though their affordability and better equipment were acknowledged. Stronger competitors eventually emerged, but the original Espace remains iconic, proving the viability of the one-box design.